There was an article that was published last week in the Washington Post in which some aerial photograph researchers were looking at different areas in China, and they noticed some construction going on that they found was interesting. And when they looked closer at the images, they noticed that China has been building new silos, new missile silos, and they've been constructing somewhere between 100 and 150 new missile silos that are meant for nuclear warheads with a range that's intercontinental. They're expanding their nuclear warhead capacity. So this is an interesting story, and it's really interesting given the statements issued by China's president last week at their 100th anniversary of the Communist Party, saying, that they expect to reinstate Taiwan, right? Well, in order to do that, there's going to be a military conflict, right? Like the United States supports the Taiwan people's dislike of the idea of become part of China, right? They believe that they're an independent nation. And we like it that way too, or at least that's how our government and our political parties have kind of treated Taiwan versus China. But the article coming out about the new missile silos is interesting. Now, you might be thinking, well, between the US and Russia and some other partners, right, like couldn't we just put sanctions against expanding their nuclear arms, right? Yeah, they could, but the only way that works is if you can control China's supply of uranium, right, or plutonium or other material that they could use to build nuclear warheads, right? That's exactly what we did with Iran, right? The U.S. and the sanctions on Iran, right? It worked because Iran doesn't have uranium. They needed to get it from somewhere, and so they basically said, well, we're just going to make it basically illegal, or we're going to set our rules saying nobody better ship uranium to Iran, and that's why that worked. Well, that's not going to work in China's case. So why? Because in the last 10 years, strategically and silently, China has purchased mines of uranium. Where? In Africa. And so we say, okay, well, they purchased it there, but maybe we can disrupt their shipping and their movement of that uranium. Well, at the same time, they have invested heavily in African infrastructure, in roads, in pipelines, in transportation, and in shipping ports, right? They've purchased ports in Africa. So they control the supply chain of uranium from the mine to the boats to China. And so there's you can't just write a sanction, right? And say, all right, now you can't get uranium, right? The only way to stop it is to physically stop them, right? And that means hot conflict, okay, some sort of conflict. So these are things that are developing. Now, why does it matter to this tribe? I can't pretend to influence the trajectory that we're on, okay? What's going to happen is going to happen. The only thing that I can influence is how to position myself personally, my family, and my business so that when that hot conflict arrives and then the resulting change in the world structure and the economy happens as a result of that conflict, I'm positioned well to thrive through that change. And so you're going to see more videos dropping here about like what do you need to do to position yourself, your family, and your business well to thrive during the changes that are coming. Because it's coming and it's at the door, right? It's here. And so you're going to want to make sure you subscribe, you follow, you set the bells, the alarms, because we're dropping videos almost daily on what to do to reposition and how to shelter your wealth and protect yourself. So watch for that. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the flip side.